an official visit to the Republic of China, Taiwan, remain safe after a powerful earthquake rocked parts of the country earlier today, Thursday, April 18th. And PS responsible for immigration denies report of contract signed with company for immigration enforcement services. Regionally, homicide incident resulting in death of Dominican national residing in Anguilla by U.S. tourists being investigated. Internationally, Mueller report, Trump tried to get special counsel fired. And in sports, CWI President Ricky Skerritt issues statement on the passing of former WICB President. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail. The St. Kitts and Nevis delegation, led by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, which is currently on an official visit to the Republic of China, Taiwan, remains safe after a powerful earthquake rocked parts of the country earlier today, Thursday, April 18th. The magnitude 6.1 earthquake struck at 1:01 p.m. in Taiwan's eastern Hualien County, with the impact felt across several other districts. The government of Taiwan has since reported minor infrastructural damages and injuries across the impacted areas. At this time, there are no reports of damage or injuries to nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis studying in Taiwan. The St. Kitts and Nevis Embassy in Taiwan is closely monitoring the situation and is actively reaching out to students. The Taiwan government has warned of possible aftershocks. Permanent Secretary with responsibility for immigration here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Mr. Osmond Petty, is denying that a contract has been signed with Night Watch Security Services for immigration enforcement services. Mr. Petty was responding to what is said to be a malicious message being circulated on social media, claiming that Night Watch Security Services was granted an immigration enforcement contract by the Immigration Department, allegedly estimated at $1 million per year. Night Watch Security Services is a registered private family company owned by a young businessman, Mr. Heston Ham. Mr. Petty is quoted as saying that this is false and that I am not aware of any contract between the Ministry with responsibility for immigration and Mr. Heston Ham or any other entity, Mr. Petty said. Mr. Osmond Petty further stated that all official contracts with the ministry responsible for immigration are signed by the Permanent Secretary. I have signed no such contract. Hence, I can definitely say that no such contract exists. Mr. Ham is a national of St. Kitts and Nevis who has had training in the security forces and served for several years in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. He has owned Night Watch Security Services for over a decade. The author of the malicious message alleges that the company is co-owned by Mr. Lenworth Harris. A case which began in 2014 involving Minister of Lands and Housing, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, and Dexter Bonkamper, General Manager of the Nevis Housing and Lands Development Corporation, NHLDC, and former General Manager of NHLDC, Barrister at Law, Mr. Eustace Nisbet, has ended with a victory for Nisbet. Back in 2012, he applied for financial assistance from the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, to go abroad to study and study leave from the NHLDC before the Nevis Island Assembly elections. The Concerned Citizens Movement CCM party won that election. Here is Mr. Nisbet explaining.
Immediately, Mr. Jeffers wrote to me requesting certain information, which I did offer him, and subsequently he, instead of having conversations with me or even negotiating, what he did was to move swiftly to write a letter and terminate all of my disbursements, including those that were offered to me by the cabinet of the Navy SILE administration.
The High Court judge ruled that the decision to terminate the financial grant was null and void, and with regard to the decision of the second defendant, Mr. Boncamper, to dismiss Nisbet from his contract of employment as general manager of the NHLDC was deemed a breach of the rules of natural justice. According to Mr. Nisbet, Minister Jeffers had no legal authority to terminate his disbursements. In a synopsis, Mr. Nisbet also explained that a cost has been awarded.
I think the judgment itself again is clear as to what he would have to compensate me for, which included an assessment of damages for all salary and the benefits that were owed to me that were tied to my contract as the general manager of the Navy Southern Land Development Corporation, as well as all disbursements that was owed to me through the grant of scholarship that was offered by the government. So to that extent, that is all that I could say with regards to that. And those two costs and the assessment of damages will be done at a later date.
Barrister at law Mr. Eustace Nisbet. Mr. Eustace Nisbet was represented by Mr. Patrice Nisbet. Mr. Terence Byron and Farida Hobson represented Minister Jeffers and Dexter Boncamper. The VON News line was unsuccessful in contacting the minister. Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Sean Richards has lost a 9-year-old defamation case against Senator the Honorable Nigel Carty. The matter was tried on Monday, April 15th. Mr. Richards, who sat on the opposition benches, was at the time in 2010 the People's Action Movement PAM's parliamentary representative for St. Christopher 5. The defamation remarks were made back in 2010. The statements allege that Mr. Carty, then a minister of government, was engaged in criminal sexual conduct. The VON News line held an interview with Senator Carty, and this is what he had to say.
The statement which Sean Richards made about me in 2010 was completely malicious, it was completely untrue, it was unfounded, and it was done simply as a measure to score political points against me. And so I took the matter to the court, and the court's judgment was immediate. The judge did not vacillate. He didn't take time. Immediately upon the wrap-up by the lawyers on both sides, the judgment was that Sean Richards was in fact guilty of defaming my character and speaking false statements about me.
He also mentioned that the deputy MP's accusation was untrue and gave an insight as to the aftermath of the case.
He didn't take to the stand. He didn't say anything in court. All he tried to say to the court through papers which his lawyers filed is that he did not publish the statements. He went to the court through statements which he made in writing to the court to say that he had not made the statements, that he had not published the statements. In other words, it tells me that Sean Richards knew he was telling a lie, that he had no reason or basis to say it, but he was just trying to score political points. We have applied for what we call exemplary damages. We are not applying for normal amounts of damages as these cases go, but we are applying for extraordinary damages.
The Honorable Nigel Carty. Mr. Carty was represented by Sylvester Anthony and Miss Angelina Zuku. Minister Richards was represented by Terence Byron, Fitzroy Eddy, and Victor Elliott Hamilton. Efforts to contact Minister Richards were unsuccessful. Entrusted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of China, Taiwan, the Taiwan External Trade Development Council, TAITRA, is pleased to announce Taiwan's first ever participation in Agriculture Open de St. Kitts 2019, taking place at La Guy, April 25th to 26th. During the Agriculture Open Day, the Taiwan Pavilion will display Taiwan Excellence Award-winning products, gardening and quick coupling products manufactured by Taiwanese companies, and the Taiwan Technical Missions Project exhibition. TAITRA will promote mutual exchange and collaboration between Taiwan and St. Kitts and Nevis throughout the two-day event. In addition, if you are interested in exporting to Taiwan, they also provide export consulting services for St. Kitts and Nevis companies. St. Kitts and Nevis and neighboring countries are potential markets for Taiwan. Taiwan's agricultural technology and machinery equipment is well known worldwide for its high quality and competitive prices. Therefore, we see this event as an excellent platform for Taiwanese enterprises to display their premium products and meet potential buyers and partners for possible business cooperation. Finally, St. Kitts and Nevis's High Commissioner to Canada, based in Ottawa, Her Excellency Sherry Truss, said that the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis and Canada has been a mutually beneficial one which dates back to the 1600s and extends much further than visa-free access. She said, however, that restoring the visa-free access to Canada for Kittitians and Nevisians is a work in progress. At a press conference with the Diplomatic and Consular Corps accredited to St. Kitts and Nevis on the 8th of April at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort as part of Diplomatic Week 2019, H.E. Truss expressed that her team is working tirelessly through diplomacy to rectify the visa situation. St. Kitts and Nevis lost its visa-free access to Canada on November 22, 2014. However, Kittitians and Nevisians are still able to attain the visa through one of multiple programs, such as a multiple entry visa. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. In Anguilla, the police reported Mr. Gavin Hapgood, a U.S. citizen, who was arrested and charged with manslaughter of Kenny Mitchell, was denied bail by the magistrate court on Wednesday morning, April 17, 2019. The police further reported that the accused was remanded to Her Majesty's Prison to return to court on Thursday, August 22, 2019. However, the Anguillian media was informed by a credible source that on the same day, Wednesday afternoon, the accused representative by his legal counsel filed an application for bail for a cash bond in the High Court. The judge granted him bail in the sum of $200,000 EC dollars. The death certificate of K. Mitchell, age 27, stated causes of death was due to prone restraint, positional asphyxia, and blunt force trauma to the head, neck, and torso. Mr. Hapgood was on vacation with his family in Anguilla, staying at a hotel in the west end of the island, and Mr. Mitchell was an employee of the same hotel. Mr. Hapgood, who is a financial advisor in New York, legal representative Mr. Thomas Astafan QC, assured the court, stated he has every intention to return to Anguilla to clear his name. The Belize government has revoked the license of an international bank which is embroiled in a fraud case in the United States involving property in the Caribbean community CARICOM nation. The decision to revoke the banking license of Atlantic International Bank Limited, AIBL, was taken on the recommendation of the Central Bank of Belize 5 months after the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, FTC, named the bank as a defendant in a case involving alleged fraud related to certain transactions for the sale of land in a property development known as Sanctuary Belize. That legal situation unfolded on November 8, 2018, and the FTC sought and obtained a temporary restraining order against certain of the bank's liquid assets in the United States. The central bank says AIBL has experienced challenges meeting its liquidity requirements due to its appearing to the reputational damage caused by being named in the FTC proceedings. It experienced an unusual and increasing level of withdrawal requests, which led to customers facing extended delays in accessing their funds, which in turn led to a worsening of the bank's liquidity position. Meantime, the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, today ordered the judicial manager of CLECO International Life Insurance Limited, CLECO, to recognize and pay a debt of over EC $1.4 million to two brothers who invested in several executive premium annuity policies to fund their retirement. Octavius John and Laurent John, who live in Dominica, must be paid within 10 days of today's judgment. In Jamaica, Director General of the Statistical Institute, Statin, Carol Coy, announced on Tuesday that in January 2019, Jamaica achieved a new record low unemployment rate of 8%. She was addressing Statin's press conference for the release of the March 2019 Consumer Price Index and January 2019 Labor Force Survey at the agency's office on Cicilio Avenue in St. Andrew. She noted that the employed labor force for January 2019 was 1,232,700, which was 2.4% more than in January 2018. The occupations with the largest increase were clerks, professionals, senior officials, technicians, and elementary occupations. The increased employment in the occupation group clerks were mainly females aged 20 to 24 years and 25 to 34 years. The group professionals, senior officials, and technicians is a combination of 3 occupational groups and includes physical and engineering science technicians, mining, manufacturing, and construction supervisors, process control technicians, medical and pharmaceutical technicians, as well as nurses and midwives. The group elementary occupations include car washers, street vendors, and housekeepers in hotels. Finally, in Dominica, Dominica has now become the 193rd member state of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, following its official adherence to the Convention of International Civil Aviation. Dominica deposited its notification of adherence to the convention on March 14, 2019, and its ICAO member state status becomes effective 30 days after April 13, 2019. That's it for our regional stories. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. U.S. President Donald Trump tried to get the man appointed to investigate his links to Russia fired, a long-awaited reports has revealed. Details are starting to emerge about the 448-page redacted document collated by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which just has been published. Mr. Trump's legal team earlier described the report as a total victory. It comes as the country's top lawyer, William Barr, faces heavy criticisms of his handling of the report's release. The Attorney General, who was appointed by Mr. Trump, held a news conference before the report was made public in which he backed the president. His actions have provoked top Democrats to publicly question his impartiality and independence. Mr. Mueller's report says he has found no criminal conspiracy between Mr. Trump's campaign and Russia, but did not reach a concrete legal conclusion about whether the president obstructed justice. North Korea has demanded the removal of the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo from nuclear talks between the two countries. The Foreign Ministry in Pyongyang accused him of talking nonsense. Mr. Pompeo met the leader Kim Jong-un to prepare for February's summit with President Trump, which broke up without agreement. The BBC's Jonathan Marcus has more details.
Real steps towards nuclear disarmament, and it's clear that the North Koreans seem to have identified the people around President Trump, Mr. Pompeo in particular, as being, in their view, the brake on further progress. They appear to have implicitly made a decision that Mr. Trump, left to his own devices, might be more flexible, and so that's why I think we see this really rather extraordinary diplomatic attack on the US Secretary of State.
Finally, a Swedish schoolgirl who sparked a worldwide wave of student protests against inaction on climate change has taken her campaign to the Italian Senate. Greta Thunberg, age 16, told senators that adults had lied to children. She said nothing was being done to stop or even slow global warming, despite what she called beautiful words and promises.
We had everything we could ever wish for, and yet now we may have nothing. Now we probably don't even have a future anymore, because that future was sold so that a small number of people could make unimaginable amounts of money.
And that brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Need a car but don't quite have the deposit? You don't need a deposit with Suzuki Sign and Drive at TDC Automotive. I've been waiting for this moment. Choose your Suzuki vehicle, sign up, and drive out. Get a brand new vehicle with zero deposit, 5 years warranty, 1 year servicing, special finance and insurance, free flat screen TV with 3 months Flow TV package, free undercoating, free car care bundle, and so much more. Come in, sign up, drive out. Suzuki Sign and Drive at TDC Automotive. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, another sports in detail. In cricket, CWI President Ricky Skerritt has issued a statement regarding the passing of former WIC President Pat Wazoo. It stated Pat was a strong man, always very focused and determined. He was a sharp legal and business mind, and it was reflected during his time in charge of the organization between 1996 and 2001. In conclusion, on behalf of the directors, management, and staff of Cricket West Indies, we honor his legacy and his contribution to the game in the Caribbean and mourn his loss alongside his family, friends, and the people of Jamaica. Meantime, here are the scores of the 34th match in the Indian Premier League at Delhi. Mumbai Indians 168 for 5, Delhi Capital 128 for 9 in 20 overs. Mumbai Indians won by 40 runs. In local sports, the Little Stars Nursery, situated at Victoria Road, held its sports meet on Friday, April 12. It all commenced with a march past, with the children making strides, and then the track action began officially. The final results were Greenhouse 385 points champions, Red House 341 points in second place. In tennis news, Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal breezed into the Monte Carlo Masters quarterfinals, but Britain's Cameron Norrie could not progress from the last 16. Top seed Djokovic, 31, needed just 1 hour and 8 minutes to win 6-3, 6-0 against American Taylor Fritz. Second seed Nadal eased past Bulgaria's Grigor Dimitrov in a 6-4, 6-1 win on the clay, having now won 23 consecutive sets at the Masters 1000 tournament. In more cricket news, the International Cricket Council ICC was today saddened to learn of the death of Patrick Wozzou at the age of 85. Wozzou had a long career as a cricket administrator, including as the president of the West Indies Cricket Board from 1996 to 2001 and a member of the ICC board, and is credited with the Caribbean hosting of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup in 2007. In a statement, ICC Chief Executive Manu Shani said, "The death of Mr. Wozzou is sad news for the cricket world. His contribution to the game's management has been widely acknowledged." That's it for the sports segment. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight partly cloudy with a 30% or low chance of showers. Weather tomorrow partly cloudy with a 30% or low chance of showers. Winds easterly at 22 to 33 kilometers per hour or 12 to 18 knots. Seas 1.5 meters or 5 feet. And sunrise tomorrow is at 5:53 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Thursday, 18th April 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis delegation on an official visit to the Republic of China, Taiwan, remained safe after a powerful earthquake rocked parts of the country earlier today, Thursday, April 18th. And PS, responsible for immigration, denies report of contract signed with Company for Immigration Enforcement Services. Regionally, homicide incident resulting in death of Dominican national residing in Anguilla by U.S. tourists being investigated. Internationally, Mueller report Trump tried to get special counsel fired. And in sports, CWI President Ricky Skerritt issues statement on the passing of former WICB President. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tammy Reed, wishing you a pleasant evening.